Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Thursday, 11th January 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillian Group is two prominent Caribbean citizens laid to rest on Tuesday, one in Antigua and the other in Trinidad and Tobago. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Two prominent Caribbean citizens laid to rest on Tuesday. Antiguan-born soca artist Ricardo Drew and former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Basdeo Pandy. First up, father, entrepreneur, friend, son, brother, and soca artist Ricardo Drew was laid to rest in his native Antigua on Tuesday. The celebration of life featured a number of tributes in word, song, and dance from members of his immediate and soca fraternity family. Here is more from TTT's Ayana Carter.
Humility was the main theme resonating through the many tributes during the celebration of the life of soca artist Ricardo Drew. Family, friends, and well-wishers, including Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, and fellow soca artists Tedderson John, Akeem Pretty Chance, Skinny Fabulous, Destra Garcia, and King Bubba, packed the Holy Family Cathedral, St. John's, Antigua. Paying tribute to her eldest son, mother Nicola Barato recounted the many sides of Ricardo Drew and was particularly proud of his resilience in the face of adversity.
Ricardo, you were loved. You were loved, you were loved. Just as you were loved coming in, so you are loved going out. And now that the story is being told, and as you said most times, a Drew story. Not a true story, a Drew story. And we all see why. Your journey, your contribution, your impact. Ricardo, you never stopped giving up. Always on to the next, always, always ahead.
Delivering the homily, Reverend Father Athenaeus George Williams said despite Ricardo's absence in the flesh, his memory will live on through his music.
We take this opportunity to express our appreciation to the family for sharing such a unique gift of a human person with the world. A great personality, great entertainer, soca extraordinary. In moments like this, my dear friends, it seems that death has won. However, the scripture says love is stronger than death.
Soca songstress Destra Garcia delivered an emotional tribute in song, accompanied by the DWO dancers. In a message of sorts to his family and friends, a song penned by Drew in 2016 asked persons not to cry for him in death, but celebrate life. Following the service, the celebration continued through the streets, ending at the Barnes Funeral Home. Ayana Carter, TTT News.
In the meantime, Trinidad and Tobago's fifth Prime Minister Basdeo Pandy was remembered by many on Tuesday as he received his final tribute at the Southern Academy for the Performing Arts, SAPA. Mr. Pandy's funeral was the first state funeral performed under Hindu rites. Mahalia Joseph Wharton of TTT News has more.
Affectionately known as the Silver Fox, this country's fifth Prime Minister Basdeo Pandy died on January 1st at a Jacksonville, Florida hospital where he was taken on December 12th for medical attention. His daughter, Makila Pandy, never imagined that that would be the outcome of their visit.
Never in a million years did we think our father would not be coming back home to be with us. It wasn't even a thought in our minds because of his sheer will, determination, and fighting spirit with which he lived his life.
He was 90 and would have turned 91 in May. He served as Prime Minister from November 9th, 1995 to December 24th, 2001.
Up until the last moment, nothing changed. He was always smiling and making everyone around him laugh.
As she eulogized her father, she thanked everyone for their support during the preparation of Mr. Pandy's funeral. While doing so, she was brought to tears and had to be supported by one of her sisters, Pandy.
In his own way. Yes. On behalf of my mother and sisters, I would like to thank absolutely everyone for the enormous outpouring of love and kindness that has been shown to us. We truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words and personal stories you have shared with us over the last week about our dad. To all those who took time to visit him at the Red House and Sapa while lying in honor, we thank you.
I don't know if I'm going to breach protocol by saying this, but I have to say to Dr. Amory Brown and his team who moved mountains to help bring our dad back home, and absolutely everyone who worked tirelessly to pull together a state funeral of this magnitude in less than a week.
President Christine Kangaloo shared what Mr. Pandy's career has taught her throughout her life in the public space.
We can believe in vastly different things, yet be civil to each other. We can hold wildly divergent views on what is good and right for our country, yet treat each other with respect and compassion. We can be fundamentally opposed to each other ideologically, yet remain courteous and gracious to one another. Whether in or out of the courtroom, Basdeo Pandy practiced law the way he lived.
His brother, Shubhas Pandy, said he spent his whole life assisting the poor.
We came from poverty. He never turned his back on poverty, but attempted to help anyone who came from that area. So came here with and entered headlong into politics. My brother was also never had any racial inclinations.
I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way.
At the end of the funeral service, Mr. Pandy's body was taken to the shore of peace for the final ritual under Hindu rites and then cremated.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva.
We will miss you dearly, but never ever forget you.
Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antiguan Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Tourism officials in St. Lucia have highlighted the need to find a solution to regional connectivity challenges. This comes as Liat 1974 Limited ceases operations, bringing in a new era in regional aviation. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
Liat 1974 Limited, a significant player in the Caribbean aviation industry, is preparing to make its final flight on January 24th after almost 50 years of service. The airline's dissolution created a significant gap in regional connectivity, which has yet to be filled by the entry of other regional and international airlines. This has severely impacted regional tourism, and the country has not yet reached its pre-COVID figures of 84,000 arrivals from the region. At a press conference on Tuesday, Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire emphasized the need to address the regional flight issues.
If our Caribbean arrival numbers were on par with the other source markets, we would be way ahead of 2019 by now. We've not reached 60% of what we were in 2019. Last year we did a lot better, but we're still way below our numbers for Caribbean arrivals. And the two big activities that have been affected is, Carnival, and of course, by extension, in that case, it's CPL more than anything else. We've not seen the numbers of CPL that we saw in the beginning.
The St. Lucia Tourism Authority has been focusing on increasing flights to and from the region. According to the chairman, Thaddeus Antoine, there was a significant rise in connections between St. Lucia and other regional destinations in 2023 as compared to 2022.
We saw an increase in flights from Caribbean Airlines to St. Lucia, new routes, and more connectivity out of Barbados. So we now have Caribbean Airlines running between Barbados and St. Lucia, and also between Barbados and also between St. Lucia and Trinidad. We should expect a flight soon flying from Northern Caribbean, Antigua into St. Lucia. So there's more connectivity. We've been trying that every time, and we keep getting more and more and more. Into Caribbean, likewise, they created a southern hub in Barbados. We have a number of flights out of Barbados into St. Lucia, also connecting us to St. Vincent and Dominica as well.
However, the chairman notes that there is still a need for more flights, especially to connect with the Northern Caribbean.
We even talked with Virgin particularly for the summer to ensure that we get connectivity out of Barbados. We don't mind that. Connectivity out of Barbados gives a further uplift. We have British Airways, which allows us to connect seamlessly into Guyana, Tobago, and also Grenada. So we have that, and we're going to get more and more of that as we go along.
The winding up of Liat 1974 Limited has paved the way for Liat 2020 Limited to take over its former operations. The new entity promises to continue providing the connectivity and service that defined the previous airline. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
Dr. Carlos Reed comments on gang violence in the Bahamas. Corville Pyfram of ZNS News reports.
These gangs, and according to government crime consultant Carlos Reed, there are many of them. They are actively recruiting new members. Their membership is growing, and their impact causes shockwaves and pain throughout the entire country. Just how pervasive are these gangs? Reed believes their reach is significant.
A growing feud. Particularly among the gangs. Even in our prisons, the gangs really control our prison. When I say that, a person, when they go to prison now, they are asked, who you riding with? What's your gang affiliation? So they do that because they don't want to put you in some place that could be detrimental to you.
Reed seems almost certain that most of the killings occurring on our streets are either directly or indirectly related to this gang activity. His theory gaining credence as even the Prime Minister has now declared a whole government approach to taking back our streets from these criminal elements. Reed hopes that rather than completely disbanding them, these gangs can be spawned into something positive.
Our goal now is to take some of these gangs and turn them around where they're doing positive things, not to be able to dismember the gangs, but to be able to challenge their intellectual capacity where they could see that maybe in some of these gangs, there are businesses, there are companies that are in these gangs. So how do we empower these persons to empower their communities?
Carlos Reed himself once rode on the outskirts of the law and is well familiar with the gang culture and says that many young men are drawn to these groups out of a desire to belong. Many, he says, feel neglected and abandoned by their own families and turn to these groups for acceptance. Compounding the situation even more is their inability to resolve conflicts and properly deal with their anger.
A goal is to make sure that these two subjects are implemented inside our curriculum in our schools. We need to now be mandated or have our system mandated where we are teaching conflict resolution, where we think about anger management.
Prime Minister Davis on Sunday put gangs on notice that they will be aggressively sought after. He also called on police to engage more with communities to reduce gang recruitment as well as youth involvement in crime. A more detailed approach on the government's plan to deal with this issue, the Prime Minister says, will be laid out in the coming weeks. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pyfrom.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.